During the Great Depression after the Roaring Twenties, people were doing everything possible to stay alive, keep their family alive, and stay somewhat sheltered. To keep food in their stomachs, they went and stood in bread lines to be given portions of food. Nobody really had much of anything, but the Hoovervilles really had nothing. They had nothing but dirt, sand all around them, and a little shack for the family to keep shelter in. The parents of the family would go out to try and find money and jobs. The Bonus Army wanted their money too. The Bonus Army marched to D.C. to turn in their bonus certificates for the payment. The only problem was their certificates weren't good until 1945. They were in a large mob at the Capitol, and Herbert Hoover ordered in the U.S. Army to break them up, causing 2 adults and 1 child to be found dead after the smoke cleared. Not only were people starving for jobs, money, homes, and food, but the Midwest was in the middle of a dust bowl. A huge storm of dust that continuously swept over the land, causing many to evacuate to other areas such as California. These people were called Okies. They would pack up everything and go looking for jobs and places to live, many catching rides on freight trains to get there. Throughout this time, Franklin D. Roosevelt also added the court packing plan, making it so they could add more justices to the U.S. Supreme Court, making it easier for FDR to do what was right for the country. During the nation's low spots, the presidents were what all the people looked to. They wanted them to do something. The people needed help. Herbert Hoover was in office as the 31st president when the stock market was very high and then crashed. When the stock market crashed, he looked at it saying it was just a rough time that the nation was going to have to get through. Then Franklin Roosevelt and his wife Eleanor stepped into the White House. Roosevelt had a large role in the recovery of the United States as he put the New Deal into action along with many other plans to help prosper the nation's future. The Roosevelts weren't the only leaders to make change though. People like Huey Long, Dorothea Lange, and Mary McLeod Bethune were there to help along the way too. Huey Long was known as the Kingfish and wanted to share the wealth and balance the money out among the nation. Dorothea Lange was a photographer and journalist that helped capture one of the most challenging times in the United States to share in the future generations. And Mary McLeod Bethune was an educator that started a school in Daytona that later turned into a university. All these people and their ideas are what brought our nation back onto its feet. Over the 10-year period of the Great Depression, there were many new acts put into action. The Social Security was among the top of them. The Social Security Act was used to reform the country by giving money to states to aid children, establish an unemployment insurance, and to set up old age pensions for retirees. They used that money to ensure that old people were being taken care of. The Tennessee Valley Authority, the TVA, was used to rebuild some of the hardest hit areas of the Depression. It brought jobs to many areas because they needed men to build and create things such as hydraulic dams that created free renewable energy. The Civilian Conservation Corporation, CCC, was also created. In this program, men between ages of 17 and 29 were hired for outdoor work, and every month they received $32. 22 of that went back to the family to help raise the children. Now that they were bringing some money back into the picture, they didn't feel safe putting their money in a bank because they weren't sure they would ever see that money again. Therefore, we now have Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, FDIC. It was a label for banks to show that it was a stable and supported bank by the government, so people wouldn't lose their money even if we were to have another Great Depression. People were also now wanting to start new lives, build houses and such, so the Federal Housing Administration, FHA, was created to set standards for construction and helped insure loans from banks for building homes. Because of these acts, people were able to rebuild America. Opponents of these movements feared that the government becoming too powerful and taking over too much. The proponents weren't scared of what could happen, they just wanted to get through what had already happened. They knew that taking these chances could make the future better, and there wasn't anywhere else to go but up.